Right, this is image 2226 from your textbook. And here's the original image. And the goal of this drawing is to replicate the values that he has. So if it's dark, the darkest things are the eyes, the glasses, underneath the collar, then you're going to make it dark. If it's light, this side of her face is much lighter than this side where there's shadow going around the eye and all the way down underneath the chin. The collar is lightest here and right at this tip here. So you're going to take one of those, not all three, and actually replicate the values. So I've done the drawings for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Let me tell you about the pencils. You have your regular number 2 pencil, which is an HB, and then in your box you should have a 6B. That's, see how much lead, more lead there is in that one. The lead is very soft. It makes a very dark mark easily. It goes black. And then this is in between. It doesn't go as dark. And then your H, you should have a 6H in your box. And your 6H is a light pencil. The lead is very hard. It doesn't come off as easily. This is your kneaded eraser. It's gray. If you get something too dark, press down and the graphite will come up on your eraser and lighten what's on the paper. This is a stump. And this is to actually blend things together, and it smooths it out. But it also makes the edges blurry, so be careful when you use this that you don't lose some of the definition of your image. Now, the first thing you want to do is create your value scale, and I've got one down here for you. And this is your darkest. So you're going to come in, you're going to do this a little neater than I am. There's your 6B, and then next to that would probably be another B, but pressing lighter. Next to that is going to be HB, then pressing lighter, and then your lightest one is going to be your 6H. And if you don't get those values right, just pull this in, pull your kneaded eraser in, pick some of that one up, it makes it lighter. And this one needs to be a tiny bit darker. This one a tiny bit darker. Okay, you should see a difference between each one. You can go on top of the 6B with the HB as well to smooth it out. You want to see 5 different values. Now, go in and make whatever is dark, which would be the glasses are very dark and the pupil of the eye is very dark. Okay, so first give yourself, this is the darkest that I have. Then I want you to take and do the background, because you can't tell how dark the skin is and how dark the hair is without having the background done to compare it to. For this, you want to use a dull pencil, because sharp pencils leave lines, and when you're doing a value drawing, you don't want any lines. You want it to be, this is the fast, easy way to do it, you want it to be just shading, no lines. So some people do small lines, some people do little circles, but basically you want to define how dark your background is. And it's pretty dark. I'm not using the 6B, but I am pressing pretty hard with my HB. Okay? It's only until you get the background done that you can start to compare values. Because if you leave the background white, then your perception of value changes. So when you go in to do the hair, you're going to use the 6B, and that will let you know how hard you're going to press. Not as hard as for the black, but it's still, his hair is pretty dark. And I'm going over it another time in a slightly different direction to try to build up that graphite to get things the right value. Okay? Now, you wouldn't have gone that dark if your background had not first been shaded. Here's the other part, is the face is very tricky. the shadow, the nose actually only appears because of the shadow on the face. So your face ends up, or the face that you are replicating, ends up being quite dark. And if you don't have the background shaded in, you won't have the confidence to make it that as dark as it needs to be. Your background is almost the same value as the shadow on the face. Okay, so you need to try to replicate the values. Pay attention to places where it's especially dark underneath the collar, and then you're going to try to distinguish between the different grays. So you have really dark here, and then you have lighter right next to it. So go ahead and don't forget the little white collar. Pick out the things that are white, make sure you leave them, or go back with your kneaded eraser and lighten if you need to. But try to replicate the values from the original drawing in your value drawing.